Hello, and welcome back. In this episode of Macroeconomics, we talk about measuring macroeconomic performance. This episode is divided into 4 sections. GDP and its components. Unemployment rate and types of unemployment. Inflation rate and types of inflation. And other macroeconomic indicators. But before we start, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe my channel. If you didn't see the first episode of Macroeconomics, it might be a good idea to check it out first. Okay, like we learned in the last video, GDP is a measure of a country's economic performance and is often used as a primary indicator of its economic health. GDP measures the total value of goods and services produced within a country's borders in a given period. So, now we know what GDP is, but how do we calculate it? This is the most common formula to calculate GDP. GDP, the national income, is now in this formula represented as in Y. So Y equals C plus I plus G plus X minus M. As you can see, C equals consumer spending, I equals business investment, G equals government spending, X equals exports, and M equals imports. So, X minus M equals net exports. Okay, here is a simple example of how to calculate GDP. Let's say that we have an imaginary country, and it has consumer spending of 500 million, and business investments of 80 million, and its government is spending 270 million. And this country's net export is 30 million, because 120 million minus 90 million is 30 million, right? And when we count 500 plus 80 plus 270 plus 30, we have a GDP of 880 million. Okay, now we know how to calculate GDP, but let's take a closer look at the components of the GDP calculation formula. When we talk about the consumer spending, we mean the total amount spent by households on goods and services, such as food, housing, and entertainment. Investment. This refers to the total amount spent on capital goods, such as machinery, buildings, and equipment, as well as expenditures on research and development. Government spending. This refers to the total amount spent by the government on goods and services, such as defense, education, and healthcare. Net exports. This refers to the difference between the value of a country's exports, goods and services sold to other countries, and imports, goods and services purchased from other countries. You might have heard about the nominal GDP and the real GDP, but what is their difference? Well, let me help you. Nominal GDP is the value of goods and services produced within a country's borders in a given period, measured at current market prices. It does not take into account changes in the price level over time. Real GDP, on the other hand, adjusts nominal GDP for changes in the price level by using a measure of inflation, such as the GDP deflator or the Consumer Price Index, CPI. Real GDP gives a more accurate measure of the actual changes in the level of economic activity, as it removes the effects of inflation. It's important to note that nominal GDP and real GDP can differ significantly, especially during times of high inflation or deflation. Real GDP is generally considered a better measure of a country's economic performance than nominal GDP. Next we have the unemployment rate and types of unemployment. In macroeconomics, the unemployment rate is calculated as the percentage of the total labor force that is currently unemployed but actively seeking employment. The labor force includes both employed individuals and those who are unemployed but actively seeking work. To calculate the unemployment rate, the number of unemployed individuals is divided by the total number of individuals in the labor force, and the result is multiplied by 100 to get the percentage. There are also several types of unemployment, including frictional unemployment. This type of unemployment occurs when workers are in between jobs or searching for their first job. It is typically a short-term situation as individuals transition from one job to another. Structural unemployment. This type of unemployment occurs due to changes in the economy that make certain skills or industries obsolete. For example, advancements in technology may lead to job loss in industries such as manufacturing. Cyclical unemployment. This type of unemployment occurs due to fluctuations in the business cycle. During economic downturns, many businesses may be forced to lay off workers, resulting in higher unemployment rates. Seasonal unemployment. This type of unemployment occurs in industries that are highly seasonal, such as tourism or agriculture. Workers in these industries may only work during certain times of the year and be unemployed during other times. So, what are the causes of unemployment? The potential causes of unemployment can vary depending on the type of unemployment. For frictional unemployment, it is simply the time it takes to find a new job. For structural unemployment, it can be changes in technology or industry that make certain jobs obsolete. For cyclical unemployment, it is the result of a slowdown in the economy. For seasonal unemployment, it is simply the nature of the industry. Okay, so now we know what are the causes of unemployment. But what kind of impact it has on economy? Well, unemployment can have a significant impact on the economy. When unemployment rates are high, it can lead to decreased consumer spending, which can hurt businesses and ultimately lead to further job loss. High unemployment rates can also lead to increased government spending on social welfare programs, which can lead to higher taxes or increased debt. On the other hand, low unemployment rates can lead to increased competition for workers, which can lead to higher wages and increased economic growth. Next we have inflation rate and types of inflation. Inflation is a sustained increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over time. It is typically measured by calculating the percentage change in a price index over a given period. The most commonly used inflation measures are the Consumer Price Index, CPI, and the Producer Price Index, PPI. Inflation can be caused by a variety of factors, including increase in demand. When demand for goods and services exceeds the available supply, it can lead to an increase in prices. Increase in production costs. An increase in the cost of labor, raw materials, or energy can lead to an increase in the prices of finished products. Increase in the money supply. When a central bank prints more money, it can lead to an increase in the supply of money in circulation, leading to higher prices. Supply chain disruptions, natural disasters, wars, or other events that disrupt supply chains can lead to a decrease in the supply of goods and services, leading to an increase in prices. Inflation can have both positive and negative effects on the economy. Some of the potential effects of inflation include higher prices. Inflation leads to higher prices, which can reduce the purchasing power of consumers and businesses. Decrease in real wages. Inflation can erode the purchasing power of wages, leading to a decrease in real wages. Increased uncertainty. Inflation can lead to increased uncertainty, making it more difficult for businesses and consumers to plan for the future. Increased interest rates. Inflation can lead to an increase in interest rates, which can make borrowing more expensive for businesses and consumers. Redistribution of wealth. Inflation can lead to a redistribution of wealth from lenders to borrowers, as borrowers can pay back loans with cheaper dollars. Increased economic growth. Inflation can stimulate economic growth by encouraging spending and investment. And then we have other macroeconomic indicators. Earlier I mentioned the Consumer Price Index, CPI. Let's have a look, what it is. The CPI measures the average change over time in the prices paid by urban consumers for a basket of goods and services, including food, clothing, housing, transportation, and medical care. And then we have the participation rate. The participation rate in macroeconomics is a measure of the proportion of the working-age population, usually defined as individuals aged 16 years or older, who are either employed or actively seeking employment. It is a useful indicator of the health of the labor market and the overall economy, as it provides insight into the number of people who are willing and able to work. A high participation rate suggests a strong labor market, while a low participation rate indicates weakness or a lack of job opportunities. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the business cycle. If you would like to see more of these videos, please hit the like button and subscribe my channel. See you next time.